Good morning, lovely students. Let's begin with the revision part, that is part 3 of chapter number 4, Structure of an Atom, class 9, Science. Let's sum up all the understanding so far we have discussed. Let's begin. So, let's start revision of the chapter 4, class 9. This is the final chapter of chemistry, chapter number 4, Structure of an Atom. First, let's talk about charged particles in the matter. Atoms have three types of subatomic particles. They are electrons, protons, and neutrons. Electrons are negatively charged, protons are positively charged, and neutrons have no charge. They are neutral in nature. The mass of electron is 1 upon 2000 the mass of hydrogen atom. The mass of proton is equal to the mass of hydrogen atom is taken as the 1 unit. The mass of neutron is equal to mass of hydrogen atom, and that is also taken as the 1 unit. So you can see that here we have ignored or not considered the mass of electron. It is quite negligible compared to proton and neutron. Number 2. Discovery of subatomic particles. In 1900, J.J. Thomson discovered the presence of negatively charged particles called electrons, which are present in the atom. In 1886, Goldstein discovered the new radiation in the gas discharge and called them as the canal rays. These rays were positively charged, and this later led to the discovery of positively charged particle called proton in the atom. In 1932, Chadwick discovered the presence of particles having no charge in the atom called the neutral. As neutrons did not have any charge, their discovery took time because they were quite unreactive. Structure of an atom. Thomson model of an atom. According to Thomson, an atom is similar to the Christmas pudding or the plum pudding. The pudding has the positive charge and the electron having negatively charged were like a plums on the pudding, just like a chocolate chip on your cupcake. He proposed that an atom consists of positively charged sphere and electrons are embedded in it. The negative and positive charge are equal in magnitude, that means in a number, so the atom as a whole is electrically neutral because number of protons are equal to number of electrons. They will cancel each other's effect, so atom is neutral. Rutherford's model of an atom. Now, Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment, very famous experiment. He allowed a beam of fast moving alpha particles having positive charge to fall on a thin gold foil. He observed that most of the alpha particle passed straight through the gold foil. Some of the alpha particles were slightly deflected by some angles, small angles, and very few alpha particles appear to be rebounded, that means reflected back. Reason: because alpha particles having positive charge would have attracted with the negative charge which is surrounding the nucleus, and so they could have easily gone through the foil, but the one which could reflect back on a small number, they would have targeted or strike to the center of the atom, which is called the nucleus, and nucleus being positively charged would have repelled, and so the nucleus would have sent this alpha particle back in a form of deflection. Conclusions from the Rutherford's alpha scattering experiment. Most of the space inside an atom is empty because most of the alpha particles pass straight through the gold foil. The atom had small nucleus having positive charge because some of the alpha particles have positive charge, and so they were slightly deflected at small angle. The size of nucleus is very small compared to the size of an atom because a very few alpha particles appear to rebound or deflect back, and most of the positive charge and mass of the atom is in the nucleus. Rutherford's model of an atom. An atom has positively charged nucleus as its center, and most of the mass of the atom is in the nucleus. The electrons revolve around the nucleus in different orbits. The size of nucleus is very small compared to the size of an atom. Defects of Rutherford's model of an atom. any particle in circular orbit would undergo an acceleration, and during acceleration the charged particle would radiate the energy. So revolving electron would lose energy, fall into the nucleus. An atom would be unstable, but this does not happen. So we know that the atoms are stable. The first Rutherford model structure of an atom was corrected later by the right side model of the atom. In that they are not accelerating, but they are just revolving around the nucleus in a different orbits, imaginary orbits or the clouds. Bohr's model of an atom. An atom has positively charged nucleus at the center, and most of the mass of atom is inside the nucleus, because we have already ignored the weight and the mass of the electrons. The electrons revolve around the nucleus in special orbits called the discrete orbit. Their names are 1, 2, 3, 4 or KLMN. These orbits are called the shells, energy levels, and are pretended as letters by KLMN or numbered as 1, 2, 3, 4. While revolving in discrete orbit, the electrons do not radiate the energy. Now, how the distribution of electron in different shells happen. The distribution of electrons in different shells was suggested by the Bohr and Berry. The following are the rules for filling up the electrons in different shells. The maximum number of electrons in the shell is given by the formula 2n square, where n is the number of the shell 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. So for the first K shell, we have 2n square, which is 2 into 1 square, that is 2. For second shell L, we have 2n square. So instead of n, I'll put 2. 2 square is 4, 2s are 8. For third square, third shell, it is 3 square, 9 2s are 18. And for the last and the fourth shell N here, it is 2 into n square, where n I'll put 4. 4 square 16, 2s are 32 electrons, and so on. The maximum number of electrons that can be filled in the outermost shell is 8. The electrons cannot be filled in the shell unless the inner shells are filled. So they first fill the first cells, second cells, third, and the last fourth shells accordingly. You can see 1 to 20, 1 to 18 number of an atom and how they are arranged their electrons. So you should know the atomic number, that is number of proton, and number of electron is going to be same. So by that you can also arrange the electrons in the given shells. And here you can also know the valency and valence electron. Now let me tell you, valence electron is the number of electron present in the outer shell is called the valence electron, and valency is the number of electron exchanged during ionization or in the process of stabilization is known as valency. Atomic structure, this is called the electronic configuration. Here I have shown from atomic number 1 to atomic number 18, that is argon, how the electrons are arranged in the different orbits. You can see valency here. I have already talked about the valency. It is the combining capacity of an atom of an element. The electron present in the outermost shell of an atom are called the valence electron. If an atom's outermost shell is completely filled, they are inert and they are called least reactive, or they are called the noble gas. The combining capacity or valency is said to be 0. Now, any metal will try to complete their outermost electrons with the octet configuration. That means outermost orbit, they must have 8 electrons to complete their octave, and so they turn out to be inactive and they're stable. If an atom's outermost shell is not completely filled, it is not stable. It will try to attain the stability by losing, gaining or sharing electrons with the other atoms to attain octet configuration. The number of electrons lost, gained or shared by an atom to attain octet configuration is called the combining capacity or the valency of that electron. Now, few examples are given here. You can easily find out their valence electron as well as valency from the number of protons and their atomic numbers. Now, atomic number is denoted by Z. That is, the atomic number of an element is the number of proton or electron present in the nucleus of the atom of the element. Hydrogen atomic number is 1, helium atomic number is 2, lithium atomic number is 3. Mass number, which is denoted by capital A. The mass number of an element is the sum of the number of protons, neutrons present in the nucleus of an atom of the element. The mass of an atom is mainly the mass of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atom. Now carbon has the mass 6 proton plus 6 neutron, 12. Aluminium 13 protons and 14 neutron, that goes with the 27 units. AMU, atomic mass unit, their unit is AMU. Sulfur with mass number 32 with 16 protons and 16 neutron, that is the mass is 32 units. Now in the notation of an atom, the atomic number and mass number is written as, you can see mass number is and the atomic number is. So you can see that the here symbol of nitrogen is given with the atomic mass written up and atomic number written down. Isotopes. Isotopes of the atom of the same element having same atomic number but different atomic mass. That means the number of neutron changes but number of proton remains same. That is called the isotopes. Here shown 3 isotopes of hydrogen. You can see protium, deuterium and tritium. This all 3 isotopes of hydrogen have the same atomic number, that is 1 as a proton, but different atomic mass, which is 1, 2 and 3, because the number of neutrons changes in all. Here you can see the carbon has 2 isotopes, which is carbon 12 and carbon 14 with the same atomic number 6 but atomic mass 12 and 14 respectively. Chlorine has 2 isotopes. They are chlorine 35 and chlorine 37 with the same atomic number 17 but different atomic mass, that is 35 and 37. So conclusion is isotopes have same proton numbers but different neutron number, so their mass number also changes. Isobars. Isobars are the atoms of different elements having different atomic numbers but same mass number. Here elements are different, they are not same. Their atomic numbers are also not same, but what do they have common in them? That is atomic mass. Let's say example of calcium with atomic number 20 and argon with atomic number 18. But if you see, their atomic mass are 40, which are common. So both are the different elements with different atomic number but similar atomic mass are called isobars. Iron and nickel have different atomic numbers but they have same atomic mass number, which is 58. So these are called the isobar. Now this presentation was all about the revision of part 1, part 2. I hope you have understood this chapter. Kindly read and go through the textbook and just draw the structure of an atom in detail with all subatomic particles and all the tabulations given in the textbook. Along with that, please do write the textbook exercises provided with the PDF in your notebook. I'll see you with the next videos coming soon.